Today I'm sitting down with the single most controversial independent artist in the music industry.
I can't be canceled, there's no way that you can stop me. I'm fully independent, there's no label who can drop me. Y'all been starting rumors, let me help you with some. Yeah.
He's a racist, he's a sexist, he's in love with Donald Trump.
Y'all can't cancel me, my life is scandal free. There ain't no sponsors taking losses cause the brand is me. My hands are clean, my family and my fans agree. Y'all can't cancel me for facts because you're mad and weak.
He's the man the establishment loves to hate and the people refuse to ignore. He's topped the charts without a label, without radio, and despite every attempt to silence him. We discuss how he battled his way out of addiction and extreme poverty to become the voice of a disenfranchised generation.
This is the first time in my life, like my Facebook fan page went from like 900 people to 25,000 people like in 4 days.
Standing up for everyone tired of being lectured about race, gender, and politics by a system designed to divide us. We're diving headfirst into the culture war, the corruption rotting our institutions, and the ways media is propagandized against kids and adults.
They use news to control adults and they use pop culture to control kids. There has to be some sort of talking between news and pop culture. There has to be some sort of connection there.
And the ultimate rebellion of simply telling the truth. This is my interview with Tom MacDonald. Keeping it real with Jillian Michaels. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Good.
You know, you are such a special voice. There are a couple of young men that I think have this innate ability to really wake people up and do it in a way that cuts through the noise, but has an exceptional empathy. And I'm going to say one was Charlie. And one is Jeff Dye. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a hilarious, adorable comedian. But like, you're a musician, Jeff's a comedian, Charlie was a pundit, and you guys all use your own unique art form to call out crazy and shape culture. And I want to go back to the beginning. When you're a young kid, did you see yourself being this independent cultural force in not just music, but honestly, politics?
Yeah, I mean, not really. Like, I started out as a pro wrestler. Like, I did like WWF wrestling for like a long time, and that's what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. As far as I could project when I was a kid, like that's what I was going to do. That was the path I was going to go. And then just sort of, you wouldn't know it unless you were in the wrestling business, but it's extremely political business.
Really?
Super political. And I just mean like backstage politics, guys like sort of jockeying for position and burying each other and trying to get ahead, and just like entertainment.
Yeah, I was going to say like every other
like everything
industry,
else.
Of course.
So yeah, it just was like sort of like mounting backstage politics and accumulated injuries. I blew out my knees and hurt my neck a couple times and got a lot of bone chips in my elbows, and it just took a toll on my body. So I just kind of...
So funny, everyone thinks it's fake, and I remember hearing about you destroyed both your knees and you just literally could not do it anymore.
Yeah, so while I was sitting on the shelf sort of like trying to rehab injuries, I was just like, I'd always been like a super creative kid, and so I'd been writing like a lot of poetry when I was young and short stories, and my grandfather was like a really accomplished writer.
And he was political, you said?
Super.
But into American politics, and you're Canadian.
Yeah.
Originally.
Well, he was like a big Canadian patriot, which was like, it was very rare in Canada at that time. Like, as somebody that is from Canada, I think up until recently, I think Canadians really like struggle with their identity. They're not really sure what it means to be Canadian.
That's interesting.
And I mean, that's how it felt for me when I was growing up. And I think Canada is like extremely multicultural. So you have a lot of people from all over the world, all sort of living in Canada. So, and everybody has like total freedom to practice whatever their culture, religion is. And, you know, growing up, you don't see people walking around Canada with a Canadian flag on their shirt. Whereas America, like that flag has become like a symbol. It represents something. The Canadian flag doesn't really represent the same stuff. So
Maple syrup is what I think of.
Yeah, sure.
A terrible thing to
Sure,
say, but the
sure.
freaking, yeah.
So there was a little bit of an identity crisis there, I think. But my grandfather was always just a super patriotic Canadian and just loved Canada and celebrated Canada Day like people celebrate 4th of July here. We had like a big dinner and fireworks and everything. So, and I used to just like sit on the end of his bed, especially towards the end of his life. He was sick and he spent a lot of time just laying in bed. My dad and I would go out and visit him like a couple times a week, and we'd just sit in his room, sit on the bed, and he had a TV in the room, and we just watched the news. And he was super into American politics, as was my dad. They were into global politics. Like, they were just interested in what was going on in the world. So I got to be a fly on the wall for like a lot of those conversations. And I think through my dad and my grandfather, like those things became important to me. But, you know, I never thought that I was going to travel down this road and sort of merge my interest in politics with my art and use it as sort of like a creative outlet. So it was just like the kind of marriage of like two things that just sort of really like organically happened in my life. And here I am, like 20 years removed from that small kid sitting on that bed, and they've sort of come together and became this whole other thing.
As a small kid, watching this stuff on the news, do you remember feeling any sense of alarm or outrage or concern? And what I mean by that is, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm older than you, but if I was to go back to 20, 30, 40, right up until like 2016, I was kind of like, I don't even think, I knew Schwarzenegger was the governor of California, and we called him the, whatever the hell, the Terminator. I don't even remember. No one cared.
The governor.
The governor, thank you. No, nobody cared. Like, I fought for gay marriage so I could protect my family, and we got that, and it was like super duper wonderful. Everybody was getting along. We had a black president. Gays could marry. Things were looking pretty good to me. We were in these forever wars. That was annoying. Everybody wanted that to end, but I don't remember ever being compelled to feel like I needed to jump into a fight because the world was inverted. Did you have those feelings as a young kid? Like, what gripped you at that age?
Yeah, I didn't feel any sense of alarm or that I needed to get in the middle of anything or provide any type of commentary when I was a kid at all. The first time I really felt like that was pretty similar to yourself, I guess, was probably about like 2017 when
Is this when you wrote Dear Rappers?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit? So hold on. So I want to back up real quick. So you're a poet.
Yeah.
And I obviously know a little bit about you. And you talked about writing songs and poetry and kind of tucking it away.
Yeah.
And then the wrestling injury happens. Now there's nowhere to go. You start getting into music.
Right. So I'm like...
So where are we from that point to Dear Rappers? And what is Dear Rappers for people who don't know?
So like essentially at that point, like I'm hurt. I'm trying to figure out how to move forward, what my creative outlet is moving forward, because I can't wrestle anymore. And a big part of me didn't want to wrestle anymore. It was a weird duality because I love it so much. I love it to this day. Like John Cena's last match is tomorrow and I'm tuning it. I enjoy pro wrestling. But it just got to this point where I was so beat up and it was so stressful, jockeying for position and arguing with it. It was difficult. Like I was like, 16, 17 years old. And when I was watching pro wrestling on TV, like a lot of people watch it as like fans and they cheer for the good guy and boo the bad guy and get upset when the bad guy wins and cheats and whatever. But I was watching it already knowing in my mind, this is what I want to do one day. So I'm like studying it and I'm figuring out how are these guys falling and not getting hurt, and everything in wrestling is like left. When you work a guy's left arm, you twist their left arm, you clothesline with your left, you get up and turn to the left, you feed to the left, everything's left. So I'm watching all of these things, putting the pieces together in my head. So by the time I get into pro wrestling, I'm like a natural. I get in, I have my first match after like 29 days, which is like unheard of. Most people train for years. So it put me in this real dicey situation because I'm like 16 or 17 years old and I'm experiencing something that I'm good at for the first time in my life. Like I was never really that good at much. Like I played a little bit of basketball and stuff like that, but I was never like a star player. I was just like, I was athletic, I could play, but wasn't ever gonna be the MVP. So wrestling was like the first thing I ever did that was like, oh, I'm really, really good at this. And it's the first time I'd experienced that. So I was very vocal about that. So I'm like 17 years old. I'm wrestling guys that are 35 and they're saying, hey, I want to do this and this and this tonight. And I'm like, that's a terrible idea. We're going to do this and this and this. So I got this reputation where, oh, this kid is really difficult to work with. So,
I thought that only happened to women. But I didn't, interesting. Yeah, little upstart threatened everybody.
Yeah. So it was just a difficult road because everybody was like, this kid's difficult to work with, and guys were trying to like intentionally hurt me, and it was just like it's just a thing.
I'm surprised. That usually I do resign that kind of behavior, like that gunslinger behavior, for Gen X women of like, there's room in this town for one of us, and it's gonna be me. Like I have.
Pro wrestling is a very like ego-driven. I mean, it's fake fighting, so like. To some degree, like a lot of these guys that are in pro wrestling, they're not actual tough guys. They're guys that pretend to be tough guys in a ring in front of a room full of people.
Okay.
So they really want to be viewed as like the top dog and the best at what they do. So it creates a lot of friction.
Okay.
So the politics and the injuries, I get sidelined because of what was labeled by others as a poor attitude, but really I was just like a kid that was excited about being good at something, and I had better ideas than these guys, and I said these are the better ideas, and that upset them. So whatever. So I get out of wrestling, I'm sitting around, and my first sort of love from a musical standpoint and like writing poetry was like I was writing like rock songs and folk songs and country songs and like jingles for trucks and just like just whatever fun like kid stuff. And I pretty much I was like a kid, and I pretty much had discovered about myself at that time that I didn't have like a great like rock and roll voice. I wasn't like a Joe Cocker or like a Robert Plant or an Ozzy. I was just a kid that could write but couldn't really sing that well. So I was like, well, I want to make music and I can't sing very well. So like, what avenue do I travel here? And I started turning them into rap songs because I didn't have to sing to rap. I could just write and I could speak the words. So I started rapping and did that for years and years and years, and moved away from my hometown to bigger cities, and was trying to chase this dream down, and like along the way discovered partying and got really wrapped up in I guess just sort of like I was living out like the rap lyrics that I was like hearing from my like favorite rappers, I'd hear them talking about partying and drugs and alcohol and girls and cars and clothes, and like that's what I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the cool like rapper guy. That's what I'm gonna do. So that led me down like a super destructive path. And then I end up, I guess this is like, it's so bizarre because I still tell people all the time like, oh, I had a mental breakdown 4 years ago, but it was really like 8 years ago, but it still feels like it was like yesterday.
Why?
It just had such a profound impact on me. Like my whole life is divided by that moment. Like my entire life is pre-mental breakdown and post-mental breakdown, everything. That's the way I look at it.
I saw you say, oh my gosh, you have a tattoo and it says, if you can't find the source of the fire, you're sure to burn in it.
If you don't know where the fire started, you will surely burn in it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Where did the fire start?
I think for me, I think a lot of people, the fire is what they're trying to bury or put out with drinking or drugs or whatever. But at that point in my life, like, I wasn't trying to like run from anything, and I wasn't trying to bury anything, and I wasn't trying to hide. I wasn't trying
Were
to.
you trying to find something, maybe?
I was just it started out just being a dumb kid, just drinking. And then I was like, hey, I really like this. I went out and drank one night, and I was like, I had the best time of my life. And I was like, you know what? I want to have the best time of my life as often as possible. So then all of a sudden you're drinking like all the time. And I remember like a couple times I was like, is this spinning out of control right now? Like, am I addicted to drinking? And I'd be like, I'm not drinking tomorrow. And then I'd wake up, and like by 10 a.m. I was drinking, and I was like, I think it's got its claws in me, and I didn't even realize it. Like, at that point in time, I'd been drinking for years, and I thought I was just having a good time. And then all of a sudden you realize you're really not having that good a time. You're sitting in this crummy apartment in a basement suite in a bad side of town. I'm still making music and stuff. Like, there was nights where I was very functional. I'd like go to work, I'd drink, I'd come home, I'd go out, I'd party, I'd come back, I'd record music, I'd wake up the next day. And there was times I woke up the next day and pressed spacebar on my computer, and I couldn't even understand what I was saying what I recorded the night before. Like, it was brutal. So I have this big mental breakdown after years and years and years of partying, and I'm just like, it was like the worst night of my life. I was just like laying in bed, and it was like after like a long night, and all of a sudden my heart just starts racing. I'm like laying in bed, and I'm like, can't catch my breath. I'm like, what the
panic
fuck?
attack.
Yeah, what's going on here? And I never had a panic attack before.
They're terrifying.
Yeah, I thought I was dying.
But I've not had one, but I know people who they think they're dying. They call them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think you're dying?
Yeah. So I got out of bed, and like the room is shifting, and I could hear my heart pounding in my ears, and I'm like trying to catch my breath, and I start pacing. This is at like 3 a.m, and I walked from my bedroom to my bathroom, and I like looked at myself in the mirror, and like I hear people say this all the time, and up until this moment, I thought it was just sort of like a wishy-washy abstract way of like of describing like a mental state. But I looked in the mirror and literally like did not recognize myself. I like looked in the mirror and I was like, is that me? Like, what the fuck? And I'm like touching my face, and I'm looking at me, and I'm like ghost white, and I got bags under my eyes, and my eyes are having difficulty focusing, and I'm just like literally like having this like existential moment where I'm like, that is actually like my physical being in the mirror, and I don't recognize it. This is so strange. So I walked back from the bathroom to my bedroom, and I went back and forth like that, bedroom to bathroom, bathroom to bedroom, for hours and hours and hours, like probably till 9 or 10 in the morning. I just walked back and forth in this apartment, pacing, my heart pounding and trying to catch my breath. And it like got to this point where I was like, I think I'm gonna die. So I called my mom, and I left like a real scary voicemail on her phone.
Yeah, I cannot.
Yeah.
As a mom, I'm just like, oh God. You said you called your mom.
Yeah. And it's probably, yeah, so she didn't pick up. I left a real scary voicemail, and then I wrote my name, my parents' name, their phone numbers. I wrote up all the pertinent information on this little scrap of paper I found, and I just laid on the bathroom floor, and I put the paper on my chest, and I had 911 dialed on my phone, and my thumb was just hovering over the call button, because I was like, if I'm going to have a jammer, the second I feel like I'm dying, I'm going to hit call. The ambulance will come, it'll find the information, let my parents know, like whatever. Like, I was like pretty sure that was it. And then woke up the next day. And then what happened from my mom called back, and my dad was sailing around the world at the point. I'd helped my dad put together this sailboat, and he was out sailing, which was his dream. Like, he'd been talking about it since I was a child. So my mom calls, and she said, I told your dad what's going on. He's going to dock the boat and fly home if you don't come home. And I was like, call dad's satellite phone right now and tell him, do not come back. I will come home. But I was like so anxiety ridden and unwell. I literally couldn't leave the apartment. Like I would cook one fried egg, and I'd be eating like one singular egg, and I'd be like gagging and throwing up, trying to
nervous breakdown.
just
Literally.
trying to,
Yeah.
So my mom had to get a friend of mine to come break into my apartment, pack my bags, and essentially like kidnap me, take me to the airport, put me on a plane, and flew me home. So for 9 months, I lived with my mom, and I said 4 words to her every day. She'd wake up in the morning, and I'd be sitting on the couch, and she'd say, "How you doing?" And I'd say, "Not good."
Oh, God.
And then she'd go to work, and then she'd come home, and she'd say, "How you doing?" When she came in the door, and I'd say, "Not good." And it was like that for 9 months. And the healthcare system in Canada is a joke.
Yeah.
So it's free, but you have to wait like extended periods of time to get care. So like I had called, because the one thing that I thought might help, they wouldn't give me any medicine. They gave me a bunch of wrong medicine. They gave me.
I saw
Yeah.
you talk about that because there's. I want to continue. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
It's all good. They gave me Cipralex, which is like a synthetic, like dopamine, because they thought I had synthetic serotonin, because they thought I had low serotonin, and that's what was causing this. That was incorrect. So I'd take those pills, and I already had regular serotonin levels, so that was jacking my serotonin levels up,
Yeah.
and it was making me like manic. Like I was talking to a friend of mine one day, and I got so excited when I was talking to him that I punched a door frame and like cracked my knuckles, because I was just so like pent up. So after that, they put me on Seroquel, which they use in like high doses for people that have schizophrenia, which I didn't know, and
Right.
that
and
was
you didn't have.
yeah. So
Right.
that was not the right diagnosis either. So that led me down a whole other path that was gnarly. And then sort of my last option was like, I think I need to like go to therapy and like talk to somebody that knows more about this than I know. But I was in Canada at the time, and the therapist visit, the soonest one that they could book me was like 9 or 10 months out.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to last
Yeah.
like a month. Like, I'm not going to be able to wait 10 months to talk to somebody. So this goes on for a few months. I end up going to the doctor one day, and I just told him like straight up, I was like, hey, like I need something to help me like now, or I'm going to kill myself. Like, I will not be back in this office. You'll never see me again. If I walk out of here without something, I'm dead. So this doctor is like, okay, I'll give you Ativan, like I'll give you 6 Ativans or something really small. And I was like, okay, give them to me. So I went home and took this Ativan, and like within 30 minutes, and I do not endorse pharmaceuticals or prescription medication of any kind.
But this is important.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, but I just want to be very clear about that. It was not the answer to my problems, but 30 minutes after taking that Ativan, I experienced like a calm that I hadn't experienced like in 9 months.
Yeah.
I finally like felt like myself again for like 2 minutes, and I was like, holy shit. Like I remember like what it felt like to be me. So I used that medication as like a tool.
As you're supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Twice in my life, I took Zoloft. I'm small. I'm sensitive to drugs. So a pediatric dose of Zoloft, I think it was like 0.25 or whatever the heck it was. And one was when I was 27 and my whole life fell apart. Always seems to, those 20s. And another one was when I separated from my ex. And you're in a free fall.
Yeah.
You need something to put a floor under you at times so you can think.
Yeah.
And this is why it's actually so important to say, like, there's nuance to these conversations. It's not good, bad, black, white. This is how you're supposed to use these things.
Yeah, exactly. The problem is they're so addictive that like, and I did end up having a small bout of like dependency on it, or not really dependency, but started using it. Like I had a headache one time that was a super localized headache in one small spot, and it lasted for like 30 days, and it started freaking me out to the point where I was like, I have like a brain tumor or something. So I started taking Ativan so I didn't have to think about it.
I get it.
So it's easy to like fall down that slope. But So I took the Ativan. It provided me with this like sort of like serenity enough to be able to, okay, I need to find like the root of this problem. So I started like reading books and read a ton of like mental health books and like researching stuff. And I cut out, obviously, I quit drinking the night that I had the mental breakdown, but there was no alcohol, no sex, no fast food, no nicotine, no weed, no caffeine.
You write with the nicotine though, don't you? When you write your music.
I used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore.
Thank God.
So
good.
But yeah, I have like I have nicotine pouches in my pocket.
I have the gum in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. That's a whole different piece.
Yeah.
It's like it's here somewhere.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. So I cut everything out and did all the research and everything that I could and started exercising and eating better and just cleaned myself up like entirely. And by the, that goes on for probably 2 months. And like, I didn't think I was ever going to make music again. Like when I was living with my mom, she was like, do you want to go to like Staples with me? And I'd be like, ugh, I don't know if I can go to Staples. And I'd like go to Staples and I'd be in Staples for like 3 minutes and I'd be like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, give me the keys to the car. Or she'd take me to a movie and like the previews are playing at the beginning of the movie and I'm like, I can't sit here. I can't stay. I don't like being here and I'd have to go home. So I was at this point where I was like, how am I ever going to make music again if I can barely leave the fucking house? Like, it's gnarly. Anyways, Ativan, reading, research, clean myself up. That goes, after like a couple weeks of exercising regularly and eating better and feeling like myself, I recorded a couple songs at like my mom's place and I was like, okay, so I'm starting to see that there's like a light at the end of the tunnel and that I might actually be able to do this again. And then my lawyer calls and says, your visa's approved. You can go back to America. And I was like, holy shit. Like, whew. So like maybe like 4 days later, I'm like on a plane. And
when did you meet Nova though, your girlfriend?
Nova put me on my very first rap show ever.
Really?
In Canada, yeah.
How long have we been together?
We've been together in a romantic relationship for like 10 or 11 years.
Oh my gosh.
But I've known her for like 17 or 18.
Okay, got it.
So
So you're coming back to America. She comes with you, doesn't she?
No, she's here already. She's signed to Def Jam.
Oh.
Yeah, she got a
Forgive
record.
me.
Yeah,
Okay.
she got a record deal and was signed to Def Jam and was having. I should probably let her talk about that, but like
In
my estimation, one of the worst experiences of her life.
Got it.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
and she's like, come down, you can stay with me, you can live with me, like, da-da-da-da-da. So
Gotcha. Okay.
I was like, okay, cool. So come down to LA and we're living together in Crenshaw. And we're like the only two white kids for 50 miles in every direction. And the house is falling apart. And it's like practically Section 8 housing, like really bad. We're like rescuing dogs all the time because there's a dog shelter down the street from our house that's closed the doors and they put a padlock on the door, but for some reason people keep showing up and leaving boxes full of dogs at the door. So
South Central?
Yeah.
They have. I've adopted a few from there.
Yeah. So a few times
South
a week.
and North are like the highest skill shelters.
Yeah. So a few times a week we'd walk down to the shelter, take the boxes of dogs, bring them home, rehome them, like, and that's what we're doing. And the house that we're in is like literally falling apart. Like, I'm fresh off of addiction. I'm fresh off of like a mental breakdown. I'm still very like uneasy and uncomfortable and like
You're about 27 this time? 26?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Okay, because
yeah.
you were Dear Rappers at 28?
2017, however old I was then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So coming out of this like addiction, mental health crisis, and then like thrust into poverty is like not ideal for like an addict. But yeah, so we're there when we're rescuing dogs, and like this house is like, I've told this story a million times, but we did like all of our shopping at the 99-cent store. We got all of our clothes from the Goodwill, and even with that type of strict budget that we were on. Like there was times that we couldn't afford like our utilities and the groceries at the same time. So there was like weeks that like the power would be shut off and we'd be like living by flashlight. And I plugged my fridge into an extension cord and like ran it out the window and plugged it into my neighbor's garage so our like food wouldn't spoil. Like it was gnarly. So
I don't mean to laugh.
Yeah, no,
but that's very entrepreneurial.
Yeah, like looking back at it. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
It was crazy. So we're in that situation, and Nova is like off her record deal, and I'm still trying to figure out how to A, get a record deal, or B, make something of myself in music so we can get the fuck out of Crenshaw and like get some level of normalcy like in our life. And Nova and I start like making some music together, and like and it was great. It was like I think it's some of the best stuff we ever made, but there was just no audience at the time. So we were just like in this little crack shack making awesome music that nobody ever heard. And yeah, this one day I was just like, this is like where Dear Rappers comes in. I was like sitting in this house this one day, and like there's like mice running around on the floor, and there's like, I'd open the cupboards in the morning and cockroaches would like scatter off the plates, and I'd have to like clean the plates before I could use them. And like I got like dollar store cheese on top of like tuna on top of bread in the toaster oven, and it was like dairy style slices, so like the cheese didn't even melt. It would like curl at the edges and turn black, and like that's what I'm eating 3 times a day. Like it's gnarly. And so I'm sitting there this one day, and I don't know if I'm listening to like internet radio or if we had a radio in the house or like what the was going on, but this song comes on and I'm listening. Maybe it was like Spotify or something, and it was either like Drake or like G-Eazy. It was one of the big rappers that was like really like cracking at the time, and the song that came on was sort of this like commentary on their life as like a famous rapper. And they were sort of like complaining about it. It was like sort of this like woe is me, like fame's so hard, and like having all of these like relationships is so difficult, and like and
not knowing which car to drive.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the pain.
Yeah. And I was just like sitting in this house that was like falling apart, that was full of rodents and bugs, and I was like just like, I mean, I hate to use the word, but I was like offended by it. Like I was like,
why though? There's an appropriate time to be offended.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Which you often point out from my perspective.
For sure.
Is when it's an inappropriate time to be offended.
Yeah, exactly.
These emotions should be used judiciously, and this is an appropriate time to be offended.
Yeah. So I was just like, man, like this guy is like running down this like picture perfect life that like I would give anything to have, especially in like my present situation. Like, and I was just, I don't know, it just touched me. And it's like this just weirdest thing. Like I had like half a cigarette left. I remember it like so vividly. Like it almost like, it sounds so storybook that like it almost sounds like illegitimate, but it's like the truth. And I heard this song, and I used to only write when I was smoking. So I was so pissed off about what I had heard that I was going to write a song about it. And I opened the cigarette pack, and there was half of a cigarette left. And I went out and sat on the front porch and lit the cigarette and started writing. And the first thing I wrote down was Dear Rappers. And I started writing this like open letter to hip hop, criticizing the status quo of the genre and criticizing a lot of the rappers in the genre.
You teach me to drink, you teach me to smoke, you teach me to think every woman's a hoe.
I don't want your Xanax bars or your fancy foreign cars. Throw your money in my face and try to tell me that it's art. No, just a drug addict on TV.
I can't hear another fucking song about abusing medication that I had to take just to stay alive. There's more important shit than what you wear and where you live and who you fucking, what you drink and what you spend and what you drive. Rappers full of bullshit. Rappers just a marketing vehicle for the product that the man wants you to buy.
was this really pivotal like moment in my life where like I'm usually very meticulous, over analytical about what I'm writing. Sometimes I'll write 8 lines and I'm like, that's good for today. Like I'll come back to this, because I thought so hard about how I wanted to phrase those 8 lines. But on this particular day, like I don't remember stopping to think what rhymes with this. I don't remember pausing to think, where's this going? It was like
You channeled it.
it was like literally like
Flowed through
God
you.
like looked down at me that day and was like, you know what, kid? Like I'm gonna give you a fucking shot. And it was just like boom, and it just like came out of me into this phone. And by the time like that cigarette was done, I had this entire song wrote, and I just sat there on the porch and I just looked at it, and I was like, what the fuck did I just do? And I ran into the house, and Nova's like sitting in the bedroom, and I remember opening her door, and I was like, yo, I just wrote the song that's gonna change our lives. Like, we need to shoot a music video to this right now. So she's like, you gotta record the song. I was like, just set up the shit. I'm gonna record it like right now. So like, while Nova's like pulling down this backdrop, we had like a paper backdrop, and we had like a $20 light from Amazon that she taped like a piece of red plastic over. So she sets up our one light and this backdrop, and I record the song on the computer, and we shoot this fucking music video within an hour of, you know, writing the song. And I was like, hey, I need to release this now. And she's like, I don't know, I really think this could be like a special thing. Like, you know, maybe you should like run an ad on Facebook for it or something. And I was like, we don't have no fucking money. Like how the fuck are we gonna run an ad? So
Right.
I called my younger sister. This is like a moment where you really have to like swallow some pride to like call your baby sister and be like, I need to borrow money. So I tell my sister I need to borrow $200. So she gives me $200. I call my mom and I say, I just wrote the song that's going to change our lives. I need to borrow $200. And like, I've been telling my parents I just wrote the song that's going to change my life for 10
I was
years.
wondering about that.
So-
like, as a mom, like, would I be cool in that moment, or would I be a bitch?
Yeah.
Would I be like, I've heard that so many times?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you make
Yeah.
me think about that.
But they've always been like my #1 fan, biggest supporters, both of my parents. Like I've used this analogy a lot, but like literally, like if I told my dad, like at that point in time, like I want to make sandcastles for the rest of my life, he'd be like, I'll buy you a ticket to Florida and get you a bucket. Like he was like just my biggest supporter. So he tells my mom, like,
It's a good lesson.
yeah,
Actually.
yeah. So my dad tells my mom, like, give him the $200, you know, like just do it. So get the $200 from my folks. Call my buddy Brandon Hart, who's also a musician from Canada. He gives me $200. Call all these other people, pool it all together, end up with $1,100. The next day, we drop Dear Rappers on Facebook. I put this $1,100 that I'd borrowed from everybody onto this Facebook ad, and the next day it's got 1.2 million views. And like, life changes. Yeah.
As a businesswoman, if social media ads are like the bane of my existence,
yeah.
and we often need to utilize
Yeah.
them, whether you're selling a fitness app or a vitamin, or I mean, every single thing now is DTC, and it's kind of a hellscape every day. Oh, they changed the algorithm. Oh my God, we got to turn off this campaign. There's geniuses that are assigned to manage these campaigns.
Yeah.
Like how to create the campaign and how to market the freaking campaign and who to target for the campaign. Oh, you can't target anymore on the computer. It is hell. And if you'd said, I'm going to take $1,100 and I'm going to run an ad, I would have been like, oh, honey,
That's not gonna
this
work.
is not going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to lose $1,100.
Yeah.
Like, now, everything that got us here, you talk about the moment that you wrote Dear Rappers and that it felt divine, but from the outside, it seems like all of it was.
100%. Yeah.
Like, you don't craft a messenger with cotton candy. anybody who is going to be that voice has to go through hell, I think, or people don't identify.
Yeah, totally. And like looking back at it, it's very difficult to know that in the moment, but like looking back on like addiction and mental breakdown, and like especially the mental breakdown, I always like sort of, I thought that was like the worst moment of my life, and it was the worst moment of my life, but it was also the best moment of my life. It taught me like so much about myself, and like how resilient I can be when I need to be, and like how strong I can be when I need to be. And that moment essentially is like what got me sober. And if I wasn't sober right now, I'd be dead. So like the worst moment of my life ended up turning into like the best moment of my life, because it birthed everything that came afterward, right, including Dear Rappers and everything else. So yeah, it was a pretty
I think J.K. Rowling says that rock bottom is a fantastic foundation to build the rest of your life on top of.
100%.
I'm almost sure that was her.
100%.
And she's got the, I went to a coffee shop, living out of my car, and wrote Harry Potter on a napkin. The idea and it's the same. There's another, you talk about how you were writing the kind of music you thought people wanted to hear, until the day you wrote what was in your heart. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think so much of this, it seems like the universe was almost trying to break you. Like, no, not that. Nope, that's not going to work. I'm going to join you.
Yeah.
And we're doing it.
There you go.
I'm right there with you. I'm double fisting them because I got the coffee as well. I find that in my own life in particular, if I'm on the wrong path, I just get my ass kicked until I'm on the right one.
Yeah.
I pursued a career in the entertainment industry and just, oh my God, to the point that I got blackballed out of that business, much like you did with wrestling. And it forced me back into fitness training, which I hadn't done since I was in my early 20s. Wasted all of this time in the entertainment industry thinking I was going to be like a talent agent and a motion picture packaging agent, to get myself blackballed out of the industry and forced to have no choice but to get back into being a trainer.
Yeah.
And the moment you called your sister is like the moment that I had to put like an ice pack on some kid who was an assistant. Well, I was an agent at a talent agency. And I always say, worst day for your ego, best day for your soul.
Absolutely.
And it does seem like there is a divine hand, a serendipitous element that has moved you to here. So can you elaborate a bit more on how we went from like, okay, I should be rapping about cars and girls, to race wars and LGBT transing kids, and we're going after Gavin Newsom, leading that charge. How do we go from Lamborghinis to California gubernatorial candidates? What in the name of God? This whole time you're going through this, you're following this, or what's going on?
No, not really. I'm just, it's, I'm making music for the wrong reasons. When I was writing my poetry and I was writing like my rock songs and stuff, like those things like came from like the heart. They came from like the soul. And when I was like, oh, I can't sing, I got to rap, it was like, well, what the f do I rap about? Because I'm a kid. I don't even really have a story at that point in time to tell. I don't have a story of my own. So I start looking at stories of like other rappers, of Eminem and 50 Cent and whoever was cracking at the time. And I start imitating like what they're doing in my music, which eventually imitating their songs as my own songs, and then imitating my own songs in real life led to the drinking, the partying, and the bullshit, and having the breakdown and everything else. So I was like just making music that I thought people wanted to hear for the longest time. And then when I sort of had like the mental breakdown, the first song that I wrote, my mom just showed it to me on her phone the other day. She said, look what came up on my Facebook memories. This happened 8 years ago today or something.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Forget what the song was called, but like it was an immediate recount of like everything that I had just experienced for like the last 9 months. It was about mental health and about suicide and about surviving and about grit and recapturing something that you thought was gone forever. So, you know, in the time that I had like recovered from this mental breakdown, you know, and then I made this song. Right prior to making that song, I was like, what do I want to make music about? Because the music that I was making before was an imitation of something else, and imitating that ended up fucking my life up. So do I want to continue making music that other people are going to imitate and fuck their lives up? Because I know what I just went through for the last 9 months is not something, there's a lot of motherfuckers out there I don't like. And I would have never wished what I went through for those 9 months on anybody ever. So I was like, I don't want anybody to experience like what I went through. People will, but I don't want them to go through that because of something they heard me singing about in my songs. So I was like, okay, what do I like really want to make music about? Like, what do I give a shit about? Like, what's important to me? And the things that were important to me were the things that I'd speak about privately with my family and privately with my friends, and the conversations that take place in living rooms, that don't take place on the sidewalk, that don't take place up on stage, that don't take place on podcasts. Like, I wanted to make music about those things. So that was, to me, like mental health, suicide, potentially politics. I didn't know what those things were at the time. I just knew I just wanted to make music about shit that I really cared about. So I made a couple of the mental health songs. Then Dear Rappers happened. And then essentially I started discovering what was important to me after Dear Rappers. Because what happened was Dear Rappers came out, and then a bunch of people were like, because I was criticizing hip hop as a genre, and because I was criticizing the status quo of hip hop, people started saying this guy's a racist, he's this, he's that, because he's criticizing black rappers and a black genre. And my whole thing was like, I don't feel like I'm being critical of any particular color of rapper. I feel like I'm being critical of the content of rappers. And those rappers come in all colors: black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever. So I felt like I was being critical of the content, not the skin color or the culture or whatever but because it caused like such a shitstorm, this is the first time in my life, like my Facebook fan page went from like 900 people to 25,000 people like in 4 days. And like I sat on my couch in Crenshaw, and every single person that commented on a post, that liked a post, that followed the page, I personally messaged probably 30,000 people over the course of like a month, and just said like, hey, thanks, I saw that you liked my page, like I didn't know how to handle it. I was just like, all I know is like, this is the first time any of this shit's happened. Like, how the do I stabilize this like chaos? So I start talking to people, and because I'm talking to people, I'm tuned in to what the chatter is online. I'm tuned in to the narrative that the internet is spinning. So I see that people are calling me a racist, and that they're very upset that I've been critical of hip hop. So
when it comes to holiday gifting, I want to give people things that they'll love. Beautiful, timeless pieces that they'll wear for years. And that's one of the reasons I go with Quince. Everything's premium quality at a price that actually makes sense. Quince has something for everybody, whether it's silk tops and skirts for dressing up, perfectly cut denim for everyday wear, outerwear that actually keeps you warm and looks good. Their Italian wool coats, they're standout pieces. They're beautifully tailored, incredibly soft, and they're crafted to last for seasons. Every piece is made with premium materials from ethical, trusted factories, and they're priced far below what other luxury brands charge. The craftsmanship, it shows in every detail, from the stitching to the fit and the drape. It's elevated, timeless, and made to wear on repeat. I personally am obsessed with their super soft Mongolian cashmere sweaters. For only $50, they look and feel amazing. Guys, Find gifts so good, you're going to want to keep them with Quince. Go to quince.com/Jillian for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Jillian to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Jillian.
There's not a racist lyric in the entire song. I pulled a ton of your lyrics.
Yeah.
Do they want to talk about it? They're actually the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And,
That's what's so crazy is that they're the exact opposite. And you talk about, listen, I think Black Lives Matter, but white lives matter too. Oh my God. It's like, no one's saying that they're, what foundational Black Americans have, no one's saying what foundational Black Americans have gone through is not horrible. That's not the point. That's not what you're saying. And so now is my moment to bring my computer forward. For anybody who's not familiar, we're going to start at the top, and this one's fake woke. My son personally pulled this one. So you go, I think it's crazy. I'm the one they labeled as controversial, and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls. As a mom, do you know how I feel about that? I don't think I paid attention. You're like, oh yeah, like, do you, girl? Like, is modern day feminism sleeping with all these dudes? Like, okay, and as a classic liberal, I don't know, you don't really care. You're not paying attention. Like, if that's what you want to do. All of a sudden you become a mom. And I don't know if you've seen Whitney Cummings talk about this at all. She's a comedian, and she's like, you start paying real close attention to shit like that. And it's like, oh, bitches and hoes and acting like a hoe, and I did this, and like the most disgusting, like it'll get, I can't even say it.
Yeah.
It'll get the episode, like the most disgusting, like XXX lyrics.
Wild.
And that's all good. Like, those guys are going to sing, for the president at some sort of fundraiser. Yeah. But Tom MacDonald, oh man.
That's the problem.
That is the problem. Yeah. What do you think's going on there? I mean, obviously neither of us can know, but what in the world is going on there? Where we hold up people who are singing like XXX porn lyrics.
I mean,
and it's like, and they're telling you to vote for president.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's probably a lot of answers to that. Because like when I was like, 16, 17 years old, I remember specifically like people were like, oh man, like, let gay people get married. Like, gay people got to get married. And I was like, yeah, yeah. Like, let gay people get married, dude. Like, who gives a shit? Like, who loves who? That's not any of my business. Let them get married. Who gives a fuck? And, like, that was, like, a gateway drug.
I know.
And there was all of these small things that were like, hey, man, just, like, let these 5,000 people from this war-torn country just, like, come here and live here because they're dying over there. And you're like, yeah, what the yeah, let those guys come over here and live here. And there was all these like little tiny like gates that all of a sudden start swinging open, and all of a sudden all of these other ideologies and all of this other shit that we didn't see behind these small issues flooded in and rushed in behind them, and it just caused this like massive like cultural shift. So I think there's like a lot of like extremely complicated and like nuanced answers to that, but like at the same time, like I also feel like, I'm a tinfoil hat guy, and like I don't have any proof, but I just feel like I think they use the mainstream media to control adults with misinformation and false narratives, and I feel like
that's true.
Yeah, I feel like
I mean, you could posit a guess as to why, and maybe that's tinfoil hat, but that's true. I just did an episode with Dr. Drew where CNN talked about what a catastrophe it is to take away the hepatitis B vaccine from babies, and it's like actually that's not true. That what you're saying is the truth.
So I feel like they use the news and shit like that to infiltrate the minds of adults and weaken adults and make adults easier to control and steer and direct them into doing what they want adults to do. Kids don't fucking watch the news. They don't give a shit. They're not going to sit down at 6 p.m. and watch some fucking old man with white hair talk about. So they use pop culture. Hollywood is fucking largely evil, like, in my opinion. So, like, that's another reason for it is, like, how can we fuck up these kids so they're as dependent on us, on the system, as their folks are? So they use shit like whatever it is, Cardi B or Sam Smith, and people, a guy dressed as a woman that's standing up on stage at the fucking Grammys, or lyrics in songs and narratives in movies and weird subliminal messaging in children's shows and children's books and da-da-da-da-da. Because that's the media that they're consuming. We're consuming the evening news. They're consuming pop culture. So it's all been molested and distorted to weaken people and make people confused and make people think they need help. And then the system swoops in and says, perfect, I'm here to help you.
I don't disagree with you. I don't really think that's tin hat at all.
Yeah.
I had a debate with Matt Walsh about gay marriage, and listen, there's also the religious component as well, but they did absolutely utilize the door that gay marriage opened and was like, what do we do now with these organizations that take in all this money and like all these NGOs and we gotta, trans kids. That's what we should do. And it's also a pharma. It's like a multi-gazillion-dollar business. It's this kind of myriad of things. And for me personally, that's when I was like, wait a minute here. Or, men in the Olympics punching women in the face.
Yeah.
And you're going, no, wait, hold on. It's the same as feminism, though. Like, all right, you want Title IX so women can have access to sports, and that's awesome. And you get Serena Williams, like all these great athletes and little girl fat. And then all of a sudden it's like, but hold on.
Yeah.
True feminism is when a guy who thinks he's a woman punches a woman in the face at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And you're like, no. And I find that so much of this is a U-shaped curve of like, how do we kind of find this equilibrium? Like, of course, people of all colors should have equal access to everything. But then it's like, and now all white people are racist.
Yeah.
And for some reason, just calling that out, it hits you with every pejorative. Like,
sure.
Can you tell me all the things that you've been called?
I mean, I think you said we only have like an hour here, right?
I have the time, but I know.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've been called everything, like from racist, transphobic, homophobic, white supremacist, Nazi, like, Zionist, fucking,
Zionist,
like, just like.
That's the new one, by the way.
Yeah.
I myself am a genocidal Zionist. I'm 70% Arab and have an Arabic tattoo, but I am a.
Yeah.
Because I can see both sides of the issue. I am taking $7,000 from Israel. Now, I can't tell you how many millions I've turned down from food and pharma.
Yeah, like.
But I jumped on that $7,000 from Israel like that.
Dude, like, that was like, it was like, it's so funny because I did this song with Ben Shapiro like years ago at this point, like 2 years ago.
I remember it.
And it started out as like, it was like a fucking joke. Like, I was just like on the show. They wanted me on the show. I was there. And then Ben made like an offhand comment, like at the very end of the interview, like, oh, if you ever need somebody to drop a verse on a song, like, let me know. And I laughed it off. I was like, haha, sounds good. Thanks for having me. Bye. And then I hung up the phone and I sat there. And then Nova was like standing in the room and I was like, you think I could get fucking Ben Shapiro on a song? And she's like, I don't know, maybe.
It was number one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hit up his manager and I was like, tell Ben that I want him on this fucking song. So I made the song that day, got Ben on it, did the whole thing. And like now, 2 years removed from that, there's all of these new political scenarios with Israel.
Right.
And so people are like, Tom MacDonald is a fucking Zionist. He's a puppet from Mossad, like And I'm like, holy fuck, like, this is fucking wild.
I know.
I'm
starting to think that's not real. And what I mean by that is, it's exceptionally convenient that the right is just self-destructing.
bad right now.
It is. You know, I was messaging Benny Johnson last night because I don't know if you saw, he got like pulled into this some gay guy who I've never even heard of, by the way. This guy Milo Yiannopoulos, who I guess just showed up on talk. Like, I'd never even heard of this guy. Apparently, this guy tried to justify something having to do with minors that, you know, I won't mention because it'll be an issue on YouTube. But nevertheless, I'm like, Benny, don't bother, because he's like, I have to sue this guy. I'm like, this is a trick. It's a time suck. It's a waste of money, and it's a waste of time, and I can't help but think it's on purpose. I've been in these kinds of litigations. You'll lose days, months of your life to this.
Yeah.
Like this who is this? Who cares? Like, keep it.
You kind of just got to tune it out.
I have to think, though, like, how do we derail Tom? How do we derail Benny? We took out Charlie. Like, there's a part of me, you want to put on a tin hat. There's definitely a part of me that wonders about that.
For sure.
You know, I just, and you were telling me, you know, without giving too much away, that you all of a sudden got attacked by a group of lunatics who thought you weren't conservative enough. But the group of lunatics who attacked you aren't conservative at all. They're lunatics.
Right.
You know, and so I have to wonder, like, what's going on with all of this?
A lot of, it seems like, honestly, it's upsetting. I was talking to somebody about it yesterday on the phone. It was a news anchor that you probably know. And it seems like the conservative side of, like, the spectrum has, like, really become fractured, like, in the last,
I know.
you know,
yeah.
4 months especially. And it was just, it's like so unfortunate because, like, I was at the inauguration and, like,
I was too.
Yeah, and I went out to the rallies and met Trump and, like, did the whole thing, and it was such a f***ing blast. Like, that campaign was, like, literally, like, one of the funnest times of my life. Like, it was so fun, and you know, Trump's in a fucking MacDonald's and he's driving a garbage truck and we're all riding around in the streets with American flags hanging out the car, and, like, it was so fun and everybody was so happy. And
you got Rogan involved and Theo Vaughn involved, and, like, all of a sudden, you know, you've got this big tent, and to me, I'm like, wait a second, hold on. This is where, like, you know, there's black guys, Jewish guys, gay guys, and everybody's getting along because they have one common goal: common sense.
Yeah.
Like 80-20 issues. We're all here to fight for this stuff.
Yeah.
And the wokesters, on the other hand, are purging people, and, like, you want to talk about being fascistic.
Yeah.
You don't agree with how we think.
That's another thing I've been called, fascist.
Fascist.
That's a good one.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. I wanted to look at a few more of these lyrics you have.
Sure.
Okay. So it's backwards. It's getting exponentially dumb. It's more difficult to get a job than purchase a gun. Eminem used to gay bash and murder his mom, and now he doesn't want fans if they voted for Trump. There's two things there that speak to me in particular. If I'm a young guy,
Yeah.
number one, you're struggling financially and you can't get ahead.
Yeah.
System feels rigged. I think that's driving people to extremes on both sides.
100%.
What I love so much about you is that you lean into your art and your truth, and now you've got a really nice car sitting outside.
Yeah.
That's not what you rap about, but you know, you, like, the universe has definitely conspired on your behalf. But what do you say to these young kids that are living in that apartment in Crenshaw? My brother's living in an apartment in Crenshaw. He's much younger, 35,
Yeah.
with his hopefully future wife, and he's going through everything you're going through.
Yeah. I get sort of, like, asked similar things, like, quite often, because a large part of my fan base is, like, also, like, struggling, and, like, because I feel like even though, you know, I'm not a fucking political scientist, I'm not, like, a pundit, I'm not, like, an expert at, like, any of this shit, I'm just, like, a regular dude. So when I'm giving commentary on a lot of these issues, it's coming from just, like, a regular person's perspective, which is why I think it speaks to, like, a lot of regular people.
Yep.
And a lot of regular people are going through a lot of regular life problems, like I went through, or like your younger brother's going through. And I wish that there was like the perfect equation or formula or perfect words to just give to somebody and say like, hey, this is how you get out of it. But like, I still look back at me getting out of it and I'm like, how the f did I do that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think like the best advice that I can give people, I mean, is like, I am a former alcoholic, a former drug addict, I still have days where my mental health is questionable at best.
Sure.
So like you're looking at somebody that's like struggled with addiction and struggled with mental health crisis and struggled with poverty and made a shit ton of really poor decisions along the way and made a lot of mistakes and I did it. Like, and it was about resilience. So like,
You also did it outside the system, though.
a big part
You're
of
independent.
a big part of it is creating like,
Talk about how successful you are. Can you please, for people who don't know, don't you have like 50 number ones
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Billboard or something? And
like 60.
60.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, you've been exceptionally successful outside of the system,
right.
which makes you an even bigger threat because no one can control you.
Correct.
I have to wonder if that's not part of it. Is that you weren't sitting there waiting for a lifeboat?
Well, that was like that was a big piece of it was, I recognized like super early, like I'm never going to be like accepted like into that club. Like I'm not going to be accepted into a lot of gatekeepers and shit in the entertainment industry. And I was like, they're never, with the music that I want to make and the things that I want to talk about, a lot of the things I want to talk about is talking shit about these people that are in that club and that are part of Hollywood like that. So I knew that I was like never going to be able to be a part of that. So, you know, nor do I don't hang out with like celebrities. I don't have fucking famous friends. Like I
See you with your dog and your girlfriend a lot.
yeah, that's it. That's literally it. I have 4 dogs. I have a wonderful girlfriend, and I have a couple friends. Like my fucking childhood best friend was just staying at my house with me for 2 weeks. I've known him since I was like 13. So like those are my friends. My family is like my folks, my sister, my brother-in-law. Like that's my circle. I don't associate with any weird Hollywood bullshit. So like a big part of it was like, okay, if I want to be successful in this field, I'm not allowed over here and I don't want to be over here. So how do I create my own ecosystem over here? So that was a big part of it, was like this being an entrepreneur. Like, okay, cool. We got 1 million views on this fucking song. Like, how do we not squander that? And then Nova's like, hey, like you got to get your shit on Spotify. And I'm like, what the fuck, Spotify? And she's like, it's like where everybody listens to music. You got to do it. And I'm like, no, fuck that. And she's like, no, you got to do it. So Nova goes ahead, creates an online store that sells Tom MacDonald t-shirts and gets my music uploaded onto all these streaming platforms and shit. And I'm thinking she's wasting her fucking time. I'm making the next song. I'm getting ready to feed this new fan base. And then all of a sudden a check comes in the mail for $11,000. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and it's from Spotify, and I'd never seen $11,000. And then next month it's 20 grand, and then next month it's 40, and then it's 60, and then it's 80, and it's just like, okay, so let's buy all the fucking lights we need to buy. Let's get all the fucking cameras we need to get. Let's get professional quality recording software, and let's create our own ecosystem where we're in charge of homeostasis, where we're in charge of everything. And there's no sponsor that's going to drop us. There's no endorsement deal that's going to fall out. There's nobody that's going to tell us, no, you can't release that. Let's just do it our way. Let's look at what these guys have done, and let's scale it to a manageable place, and let's just do it ourselves. So that's what we did. So I guess a big part of it for other people, whether you're a construction worker, a painter, an actor, a lawyer, doctor, teacher, whatever the fuck, like a big part of it is anything that the system can offer you, you can do it yourself. It's a longer road. It's a harder road. And there's always going to be people that are a better rapper than you, a better teacher than you, better producer than you, better carpenter than you. But like God-given talent and skill will only take you so far. If you are not afraid of hard work, you may not be better at your task than these other people, but you can work harder than them. And like, when they're sleeping, you got to be working. When they're eating, you got to be working. When they're playing, you got to be working. When they're working, you got to be working twice as fucking hard. And if you can do that, if you can find the resolve to just outwork everybody and continually reinvest in yourself, get the cameras, buy your own fucking tools, rent a fucking garage, set up a workbench. If you can figure out a way to do things on your own with as little involvement from other people as possible, I mean, you can be successful. You can. We all have access to the fucking internet.
Do you see yourself starting a label?
Eventually, one day, at this point in my life, one of the major problems that I have with record labels, besides them just being fucking retarded, sorry, but beyond that is that, like, when sorry, but
we're with you.
yeah, I just can't, literally,
we're all with you.
The words are failing to find me, and like, that's the one that's best, most descriptive.
I understand.
Yeah, accurate.
I understand.
But like, one of my big problems with them is, like, you know, I mean, Bad Bunny's in the fucking news right now. Who else is in it? Taylor fucking Swift. There's a lot of big artists. Anyways, these big artists, they're signed to Universal, okay? And you may know like a dozen artists from Universal, maybe. But Universal has fucking 40,000 artists on their label.
Do they really?
Well, 10,000, 20,000.
That's crazy.
A lot.
I did not know that.
More than the dozen that you know. But the thing is like, there's only so much manpower and so many resources and so many people that give a shit. And like, you know, in these big labels, like, one person believing in you doesn't mean fuck all. That guy has to go convince the guy above him why he should believe in him, and that guy's got to run upstairs and tell that guy why he needs to believe in him. And you have to have a perfect chain of the right people all saying, this is the guy, this is the guy, this is the guy, boom, make it happen. So then all the resources, manpower, and energy get spent on Bad Bunny, whoever the fuck it is, while all these other guys are just sort of floating around like shelved, and they're not doing anything with their music.
It's crazy.
So like, at this point in my life, it's like, if I opened a label and signed 5 people, I'm working 18 hours a day on my own shit.
I know what you mean.
So it's just like me, my entire label is me, my girlfriend, my sister, and my brother-in-law. It's 4 of us.
You're building. You're still building your own brand.
And I don't think that building process like ever really stops until I stop, until one day I'm like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm done now. So I feel like if I signed people right now, they'd be like, oh my God, this is great. I just signed to Tom MacDonald's record label. He's this big independent artist. He can help me do this independently. I'm going to be the next him, whatever. And then they're going to be sitting around waiting for a phone call for 3 weeks. And I'm going to be like, sorry, I'm working.
Yep, I get it.
And then I become the guy that I hate over here.
I understand.
To these guys.
I understand.
So it feels like a little selfish, but like, I mean, I've had like, I give fucking free advice. You'd ask anybody that I mean, Jelly Roll used to call me and be like, hey, this is what's going on. What can I do with this? And I'd tell him, this is what you need to do. And I saw him implement it in real time. Not that I had anything to do
I know what you mean.
with what Jelly's doing, but not just him, but like anybody around me in my orbit, Brandon, anyone that's come to me and said, I have an issue, or I'm trying to reach this next spot and I'm not sure how to get there. I've always given people all of the advice, and I've made calendars for people. This is how you should release your music video.
You don't owe anyone anything.
Yeah.
I just wondered if there wasn't a day, you know, where the legacy is creating something different. But I know exactly what you mean. You're in it. I get it. I want to do a few more.
Yeah.
If you'll permit me here.
Yeah.
We just went through this, so I just wanted Thanksgiving Day with food and my family without being accused of celebrating Native casualties.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I just went through this on Piers Morgan, and You know, it's funny. The reason I read these lyrics is because I got a 13-year-old boy and I'm a 50-year-old mom, and yet the two of us find something in the music.
Yeah.
I was just on Piers Morgan talking about Thanksgiving, and you know who made that a national holiday was Lincoln.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the guy that wanted to free the slaves. And the whole idea was, how do we bring people together? The whole idea behind Thanksgiving was that the Native Americans and the Pilgrims came together. How about more of that? But instead, it's like, no, all racists.
Yeah.
You took everything. And I think so many people want that, Tom. So many people are like, for the love of God, can we just have turkey and play cards? You know, like with family, and maybe go see a movie later. But everything has become so political.
Yeah.
And you give people these gifts of like, it's okay to want to feel that way. And you get attacked for it. We got so divided. It's black and white and political. Republicans are bigots, libtards if you're liberal. Like, we don't even see each other as human anymore.
Yeah.
But you're not calling out one side. You'll even say like, hey, you know, I'm not tribal. I'm going to call out what I'm going to call out. Just so happens, kind of like me, you're seeing a little bit more crazy on the right, but you just alluded to crazy on the left that's upsetting you, and that's, you know, a separate podcast, I'm sure. But there's this one I love. There's riots in our streets, and it's just getting worse. Y'all are screaming, defund the police. You're genius for sure. They're underfunded already. They're way too busy to work. Order food and call the cops. See what reaches you first. Who was I talking to? I was just talking to Tommy Lahren about this. She's like, you know, one of the number one things women want. Yes, I understand the abortion issue and all of that, but they want safety. It's one of the top issues. And they constantly, she was saying, women on the left constantly attack conservative women. Like, why do you vote against your own, you know, your own benefits? She's like, is this not top of your list?
Yeah.
You're defunding the police. You're letting out repeat offenders. You know, and you're seeing it. You're seeing it in real time. You're seeing a girl that was killed on a bus by a guy that was arrested 14 times and was mentally ill.
Yeah.
Why are you the only one saying this, though? At least in music. Why? You said you get calls from people who are like, hey, man, yeah, like, love it. I'm with you. But never have the balls to come out and stand alongside you and say the same thing.
Yeah. Well, one, I think that there is other people saying it, just not on a big a stage as I've got. But speaking of sort of like my level and other artists that are at this place that I'm at, why aren't they speaking about it? A lot of them are signed. A lot of artists that are like at my size or influence or whatever.
You're exceptionally successful. You would think that would be permission. You know, like, look at what I did.
Well,
look, I am able.
The only people that I can give permission to speak for themselves by watching me, the only people that are observing me that can actually take that permission and then speak are people that aren't beholden to somebody. And like most of the people that are at my level are signed to record labels, and it doesn't matter if I give permission to them through what I'm doing or not. They're not allowed.
They're not allowed.
The creativity is sort of, you know, stifled by.
How about this one? America's fallen, woke became a disease. They made trillions off of mandatory lethal vaccines. Why not allowed? We already know now that there's some issues. I mean, there's talk about adding a black box warning to the COVID shot for kids. Like, yeah. I have to wonder, you know, some of these labels, like, are they owned by the same?
I think they're all. I like I said, like when they use news to control adults and they use pop culture to control kids, there has to be some sort of talking between news and pop culture. There has to be some sort of connection there.
Right.
They can't just, drive kids in one direction and drive adults in the other direction. Everybody has to be going the same way. So there's some sort of coordination going on here. And like a big reason why you can't talk about this shit is because of social media. Social media is in bed with with the record labels
Right.
and the mainstream media, and the mainstream media is in bed with the record labels, and the record labels, and everybody's in bed with whoever's above them. I don't want to go too deep into that.
I know, I get it. I agree with you.
But
Can
it's a concerted effort for sure.
right? Do you ever see yourself being able to do a concert?
Oh yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Really? I worry about it.
So does my girlfriend.
Yeah, my son's like, ask him if he's gonna when. I'm like, well, honey, they'll try to kill him.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
You think you'll do one?
Yeah.
Tom, indoors, high security.
Does matter.
It does matter, though. It matters, and I want to stress this actually because they'd say like,
we cannot let these
I
people
don't
scare
want
us
to hear
out
that.
of
I'm
this shit.
sorry.
It's true.
It's
we
not
can't.
true though. There are certain, they've all said the same shit to me. And the reality is when they start shooting at your house. And
I just saw it just happened the other day with Tim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What just happened with Tim, and the wife is inside, the kids are inside. And the reality is, Benny's like, I won't be stopped. I'm like, oh, they'll stop you though. They will. You will be stopped if somebody wants to stop you.
Sure.
They'll stop you. Are there not Charlie? Like we could have been inside. Would
that have stopped it?
Yes, his
You
own
think?
security guy knew that freaking building was a problem. He knew it, and he said that's a problem. Do you guys have it? On Sean Ryan, Charlie's own security guy knew that building was a problem.
Yeah, sure.
And they said we got it, and they didn't have it.
We've also seen political violence take place indoors. Like if somebody wants it bad,
more
sure.
aggressively.
I'm not saying that we're not going to vet it aggressively.
Very aggressively.
Of course.
Indoors.
It has to
heavy
be
security.
I'm
I
just
would be
saying-
reluctant to let my son go because I'd be worried.
Sure, but there comes a point where we can only do so much, and like what the fuck am I going to do? Walk around in a plexiglass fucking bulletproof box for the rest of my life? Put
Bulletproof
machine gun
windows.
turrets on my
Have
fucking
some
house?
Of it, yeah, take some of those precautions.
Well,
yeah.
I have taken some of those precautions.
you?
Not as extreme as I'm putting machine gun turrets on my house or walking around in a plexiglass
but-
box. I showed up here today with no security. I drove myself here.
Do you have bulletproof windows on the car?
No,
I
no.
think you should.
Yeah, I probably should, but I have to be able to like live my life as well.
A modicum of, putting some bulletproof windows on the car.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, the house is taken care of, like, things are locked down. I'm just saying that, like, I'm not going to, like, write off ever doing a concert again.
I understand.
Because,
I just want to hear you.
and, like, the way that I have it figured right now is, in the present climate, I can't just jump on a fucking tour bus with my face painted on the side and drive down the fucking highway and do 50 shows across America. That's just out of the question right now. That's not a thing.
Okay.
So like the way that I have it figured, the best way that I've looked at it and thought about it and spoke about it with my girlfriend, because she is obviously.
There's a reason that there's a yin and a yang with women and men.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys all say the same shit. I'm not gonna live in fear. I'm like, how about a little? Maybe just a little. There's a reason that these two things.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I don't know how I didn't fall into this kind of natural balance of things. I just didn't, but I can surely appreciate it.
But I feel
you guys
like-
need a little bit of that.
Sure, but fear is like a very like strong vibration, and you let a little bit of it in. It's like the fucking floodgates that we talked about earlier. Sure, yeah, gay marriage. Come on, all of a sudden, fucking pedophiles have their own fucking flag.
I know, but
And
Tom,
so-
that's not right, obviously,
right.
and that's where people then
I'm
need
just
to
saying,
hold
if
the
you
line.
if you open that gate and you let fear in, it multiplies and it grows, and there's a fucking flood that occurs after it. So. The way that I got it figured is instead of
How do you have it figured?
instead of driving down the fucking highway in
Okay.
a bus with my face painted on the side
Okay.
and performing at fucking random venues that I have no control over. I don't know who owns the venue. I don't know who their fucking security is.
Yeah.
I don't know any. And I've had weird things happen at shows before, way like years ago, before the climate was what it is now.
Yeah.
So the best way that I have it figured is we do like 6 to 8 festivals.
Okay.
And we do 2 on the West Coast. We do 2 in the middle of the country. We do 2 on the East Coast. We do 2 in the South. We control the venue. We control the security. We control where they're at, when they're at, who comes in. We control everything.
But that's
and instead of driving
that sounds good.
Yeah, instead of driving to other people's venues, you come to our venue. You come to us.
Yeah.
That is the most controlled environment that I
just want to know you're thinking about it. And
of
clearly
course.
you are.
Of course.
That's, because I just think, I see these voices, I see these young men, and, it's so interesting because, honest to God, like, who would know, like, the face tattoos and whatever. And here you are, like, you love your girlfriend, you worry about your dog, you rescue dogs. Like, you probably, and I say this with love, one of the most sensitive souls. I mean, I've listened to a lot of your music, to write this kind of music and to feel as deeply as you do and to care as deeply as you care. It says a lot about who you are, and there's a reason you're resonating. But a voice like that, for obvious reasons, does need to be protected. And
for sure.
Just to make sure you're
sure
thinking of that.
And every man that's ever confronted with that question, like, aren't you scared of like potentially what could potentially happen to you? Like, just as a fucking man, you're like immediately like fucking deny that. Like, no, I'm not fucking afraid. I'll do what the fuck I want. I'll do a show in the middle of the fucking street right now if I want to. And like, that has to be the attitude. That's
okay, but then let the wife
exactly. That's what I'm.
Help you
That's where I'm. That's where I'm going.
Help
Is
you
that like
organize it.
that attitude is the reason why I was able to create the music that I've created and continue to create. And it's important to have other people around you, like my girlfriend, like my sister, like my mom, like my dad, like my brother-in-law, that can help you navigate when you're so headstrong. Fuck it. I'm not afraid. They're not going to scare me. I'm going to do what the fuck I want. You need the people that love you to be around you and say, hey, I get it. Okay. I know you want to do what you want to do, but maybe we think about doing it this way instead.
All right.
And that's important.
Do you mind if one of your biggest fans asks you just a couple of questions?
Let's go.
All right. You had the pleasure, of course, of meeting before we started the interview. But for everybody watching, this is my son, Phoenix. And Phoenix, as I mentioned, is one of your biggest fans.
Cool.
And Phoenix skipped school today, Tom. I've interviewed everyone. Can I just say, I have interviewed at least... I have interviewed athletes, I've interviewed actors, I've interviewed politicians, I've interviewed never once have we skipped school. So
I've skipped school for way worse reasons than this. So
we had a raging case of diarrhea last night, and we skipped school. So I promised 3 questions. There were quite a few. I integrated them into my interview. All right, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
How should I start?
Just ask.
we're already started.
Yeah, you have started.
Okay. What's your favorite song you wrote and why?
So I have 3 favorite songs, all for different reasons. So Dear Rappers, that was the event horizon where everything good in my life occurred because of that song, essentially. So Dear Rappers for sure. I did a song called Ghost for my girlfriend Nova.
I've seen 100 grand in cash. I've took the trip to hell and back. I've been around, never saw nothing like you. And I've seen lights up in the sky, and I've seen ghosts alone at night. I've seen some things, but they were nothing like. Till I walk through walls. Till I walk through walls. I wanna be with you, 'cause I'm me with you.
And that was like my first pop song that I'd ever made. And I'd sort of been, outcasted and blackballed from hip hop because of many of the songs that you've heard. And I wanted to just try something new and do something different and do something that I thought would be more difficult than rap, and that was sort of penetrate the pop world, because the pop world is notorious for being difficult to make a name for yourself or have a big song or whatever. So I wrote the song for Nova, Ghost, and that went #1 on Billboard in pop, which is really cool, and it went on the radio. It was in high rotation for like 2 weeks, and then somebody called the radio station and said, "Do you know who the this Tom MacDonald guy is?" And then showed them my Instagram, and they took it off the radio.
Oh my God.
Which is fine, because I mean, I have no aspirations in being a pop star. I just thought it would be funny. I felt like we had infiltrated, we got into a room where we weren't supposed to be in, and it took them 2 weeks to figure out we weren't supposed to be in that room, and that was enough for me. That was really fun. So Dear Rappers and Ghost, and then You Missed, which was
Your favorite.
Yeah, which was the song that I wrote after the attempted assassination on Donald Trump, because I had just never, I mean, I'm sure you haven't either, like I had never experienced anything like that before in my life. I was sitting in the studio, and my girlfriend rushed into the room, and she had her phone to her head, and she was talking to my sister, and she said, "They just shot Trump." And I stood up out of my chair, and I was like, "Is he dead?" And she's like, I don't know. So I went online and saw the video, and like we discussed earlier, it was such like a fun time for everybody and such a fun campaign, and everybody was just rallying together, and it was just this really unifying, awesome time. And then to have it all come almost, no pun intended, to a dead stop was like infuriating to me.
Burning the country down with their progressiveness. It started with changing what gender is, then graduated to your racist. If you think that your life matters and your skin don't have melanin, they don't want peace, they want skeletons. They want men to pretend that they're feminine. They don't want an election. They got so offended by freedom that they just try killing the president. I used to think that the woke were misguided, but now I can see that they're evil. Twitter is angry that Trump isn't dead. You know who got shot? Innocent people. Thought y'all were tolerant, thought we were equals. I thought you valued how everyone feels. Then why are y'all celebrating an attempted assassination like you're part of Antifa? Thank God the left can't aim. Thank God the right don't riot. Welcome to the home of the brave. Freedom ain't afraid of violence. You wish you was dying? Bitch, you missed!
So I wrote the song literally moments after being given that information, shot the video that night, and then dropped it the next day, and then was fortunate enough to meet Trump in Coachella and give him a #1 Billboard plaque for the song, and he signed my Billboard plaque, and it's hanging in the house. And it was really just like, I'd made a lot of political songs over the course of my career, but I'd never really write about like current events. The only 2 real current events that I've written about were the attempted Trump assassination and the Charlie Kirk assassination. And typically, I'm not really into writing about current events in an immediate fashion like that. I usually like let things breathe and sit back and listen to the varying narratives that come in and see kind of where I fall. But I feel like there's certain moments in life that are like so poignant and important and historical. Like those moments are going to go down in history. And I don't always know what to say when something terrible happens in my life with my girlfriend or my dog or my parents or myself. I don't always know how to sit down and have a conversation about those things, but I usually am able to decipher how I'm feeling enough to write a song about it. And I saw everybody online talking about Trump, and I saw everybody online talking about Charlie when those things happened. And I wanted to go online and talk about those things, but I could not figure out for the life of me how the fuck to say what I was feeling. I just could not find the words. And in those moments, I felt like I need to do the only thing that I know how to do, and that's write a song. So the Charlie song was very important as well, but the Trump song, You Missed, was the first time that I'd ever, current event just happened, wrote the song, released the video the next day. And because it was the first time that happened, I'd say that was my 3rd favorite. So I got 3. They're all important for different reasons.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then what's your just favorite song of all time?
Oh, jeez. I had no idea. Yeah, I didn't know your mom was going to be the easy interview. Favorite song of all time? Maybe Going to California by Led Zeppelin.
Why?
There's a couple lines in that song that just really, really spoke to me, and that was, oh man, I'm gonna cry if I have to say them out loud because they mean so much to me. But Robert Plant wrote a line that said, "I'm standing on a hill in my mountain of dreams." Like, I can't even do it. Aww. I can't even do it. I'm standing on a hill in my mountain of dreams, telling myself it's not as hard as it seems. And then that other line in that song that really spoke to me was, it sounds so dumb because, like, I don't think they feel as profound to most people, but it's took my chances on a big jet plane. Never let them tell you that they're all the same.
I don't think it sounds dumb at all.
It's just because it, like, when I moved to America, like, my dad took me to the airport and gave me, like, my grandfather's wallet. And there was, like, $700 in the wallet. Fuck, man. And he said, the American dream's still alive and well, you just got to work for it. And, he said, you got one job in America, live up to your potential. And for whatever reason, man, those lines in that song just remind me of the journey that it took to get here. I'm just so grateful for being able to be here with you and your mom and do cool stuff like this and take care of my family. And it's just been such a blessing. So for those two lines, that's my favorite song.
Last question.
Yeah.
What's your favorite tattoo you have?
Oh, definitely the one on my stomach. It's like your mom and I talked about it earlier. It's like this smoke and fire, and there's like this skeleton, and he's like reaching up out of the fire, and it says, "If you don't know where the fire started, you will surely burn in it." And it was just like, that was like me, like reaching out of this chaos and fire and tumultuous life that I'd accidentally built for myself, and just like grasping at like something, like trying to get out, and lo and behold managed to do it. So that's the one. What's your favorite tattoo?
I don't have any.
You're gonna have to start working on it, dude. Sorry, Mom.
I have a couple. All right, now this is the part where you thank Tom for his time.
Thank you.
And you ask him where everybody can find his music and how they can support him and his message.
Where can everybody find your music and support you?
So all my music is, thanks to Nova in 2017, all my music is on DSP, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. I shouldn't say all my music. All my
new albums are, I just purchased. It's going in your stocking. A little stick in this little envelope.
Yeah. Oh, you got the USB stick. Yeah. Far out. I should have brought you guys some stuff, man.
No, honey. We buy it just under a different. We have an alias at an address.
Got you.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
But shit, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known you were here. I would have brought you some stuff.
I wouldn't have even told you. We bought it. And
okay.
You were out of this one mug with the gun
with
handle.
The gun?
Yeah.
I have one of those mugs. It's my personal mug. It's at my house. I'll come by here. I'll drop it off.
You will not absolutely do that. Okay,
yeah.
Where can we support you? Tell everybody.
Hangovergang.com. That's where, like I said, it's totally independent. I'm sort of outside of the music industry, so you can find my singles that have associated music videos on DSPs, but like my albums are like 30 songs long, and those songs are only available on CD or USB stick, and the only place on earth those are available is hangovergang.com.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You crushed it.
Anything
you
did
great. Your mom didn't even make me cry. You made me cry.
I was gonna say, anything you want to say to Tom about how much his music means to you?
A lot, for sure.
Thanks, man. I'm glad.
Thank you, babe. You're really just so special. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And make sure to let me know what guests you want to see on in the future.